Thank you for being willing to be a group leader for TYF support groups. This is the first in a series of videos that will help you to become the best group leader that you can be. It will also help to ensure that our meetings stay safe and reflect our culture. You might find it helpful to have a copy of the script to review as you go through this video.
This video will focus on the meeting format, breaking down each element and the importance of each one.
Our first priority in developing these support groups is safety. We want to ensure that TYF support groups are safe places for survivors to learn from each other and gain strength from the group. Safety is one of the key stages of healing from trauma. If a survivor doesn't feel safe, it makes it more difficult for her to move forward and find healing.
That's one of the reasons we have these structured so carefully, is to ensure that no matter where you are on your healing journey, the group feels safe.
So with that theme of safety in mind, let's talk about the meeting, starting with the role of both leaders. At times you may be leader number 1, and at times you may be leader number 2. It's important that you feel comfortable with either role, and you'll find great satisfaction in performing in either one.
Leader number 1 is responsible for running the meeting and making sure that the meeting stays on track.
And group leader number 2 will provide support and help to maintain a safe environment.
After leader number 1 welcomes everyone, she'll want to make sure that everyone in the room is a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. Any family members or friends who came to be supportive will need to wait outside until after the meeting is over. She'll then ask if anyone in the room is looking for a mentor, if they don't already have one. If there is anyone that has an interest in that, just encourage them to talk to you or the other group leader at the end of the meeting. Then group leader number 1 will lead the group in reading the purpose statement together.
We developed a purpose statement for the support group so that it is very clear what we're trying to accomplish. We want to create a safe place where women who are survivors can get support from the group and learn about the 5 strategies to reclaim hope. These strategies are tools that can help lead to safer, healthier coping and long-term healing.
After reading the purpose statement out loud together, you'll have a few volunteers from the group read the meeting guidelines. We'll skip talking about this for now because we have an entire video just about the meeting guidelines.
After the meeting guidelines, you'll have everyone do a check-in. It will follow the worksheet closely and is a requirement for everyone to check in. The first thing that you'll do is put your first name at the top of the check-in worksheet. Number 2, it asks you the question, how are you feeling physically? And you would answer with 1 or 2 words. I have a headache, or I feel really good. Number 3, how are you doing emotionally? Am I anxious? Am I sad? Or am I excited? Number 4, what was your self-care practice for last week? What is 1 or 2 things you did to help take care of yourself during the past week? Number 5, did you notice any triggers, yes or no? And what coping techniques did you use to deal with those triggers? If you weren't able to deal with those triggers in a healthy way, it's okay, sometimes that happens. And number 6, in 1 sentence, write down what your triumph moment was for the week.
After everyone checks in, you'll show a video about one of the 5 strategies to reclaim hope. This will be the strategy that was introduced the previous week, and it's just used to remind them what you talked about the week before. From there, you'll go into the sharing portion.
The sharing portion of the meeting is an opportunity for anyone to take 3 to 5 minutes to talk about their previous week. It can be related to how they applied the strategy for last week. It can be related to self-care. It can be related to a coping technique they've used successfully, or it can be related to maybe a boundary that they're struggling with. Sharing should really focus on coping techniques that help to address the challenges that you are facing. We always use I statements while we're sharing to make sure that we aren't telling other people what to do, but we're sharing our own experience from our own perspective. We don't want to tell others what to do. We just want to share the things that have worked in our own lives. Sharing is a wonderful opportunity for members of the group to learn from each other. Sharing is not a time for discussion. It does not go back and forth. Sharing is an opportunity to listen.
This also isn't a time or place for advice. If it feels appropriate after each participant shares, You and the other women in the group can offer words of support such as "thank you so much," "I appreciate your sharing," or "that resonated with me."
After sharing, leader number 1 will ask if anyone heard anything that they could relate to. Allow the chance for 1 or 2 people to share for a minute or 2 about what resonated with them, but make sure it doesn't go into advice giving.
From there, you'll move into the discussion about the strategy for the week to come. A volunteer will read the first page about that particular strategy in the workbook, which is an overview of what the strategy is. For 3 to 5 minutes, talk about how you can see the strategy helping them and ways to implement it into their lives.
After discussing the strategy, choose one of the workbook activities to do together as a group. In the meeting script, you'll find a box that lists workbook activities that we feel are appropriate to do in a group setting. You'll want to make sure that this lasts only 5 to 10 minutes, as some of the activities may take a little bit more time to complete.
After reviewing this week's strategy, give everyone a minute to select their self-care practice for the week to come. There's a place within the meeting script where they can write down their self-care practice and the date. Ask for 1 or 2 volunteers to share what they're going to do to take care of themselves that next week.
Before we close the meeting, you'll do a grounding technique with the group. We've given you the option of 3 videos or a group technique that is written into the meeting script. We'll cover this in more detail in our grounding video.
We conclude the meeting with a power statement. Power statements are sentences that you say to yourself to remind you of the positive future you have ahead of you. You say these as if they are already true, so that you can believe that they will someday become true.
After the power statement, thank them for coming and let them know how much we appreciate them participating in the meeting. Let them know that the meeting is now over, but they are welcome to socialize if the venue permits.
Thank you so much for deciding to be a group leader.